Life is not a rehearsal. There is no second chance for you to step into your power. And yet, so many of us walk through life like doormats, letting others wipe their feet, letting people dictate our worth, our time, our energy. But here's the truth. You can't win in life if you don't choose yourself first. You want to be a winner? Stop waiting for permission. Stop letting people step over you. Start standing up for your dreams, your boundaries, your voice. Life is not a rehearsal. There's no second chance, no opportunity for do-overs, and no guarantee that the next moment will be like the last. The way we walk through this world ourselves every single day determines not just the trajectory of our lives, but also the quality of the experiences we create. Yet, so many people continue to live their lives as if they're in a waiting room, sitting, passive, hoping for someone to change their circumstances. They wait for the perfect moment to speak up, to take action, to claim their worth. But the truth is, time is now. And if you're sitting in a place where you're allowing others to dictate your worth, your time, your boundaries, then you're letting life pass you by. You cannot win this way. You cannot win by being passive, by waiting, letting others make decisions for you. We have been taught, in some way or another, that our value comes from what others think of us or what others give us. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to how much we're willing to endure, how much we're willing to compromise for others. And while kindness, generosity, and patience are all important virtues, they should never come at the cost of your own dignity and self-respect. If you continue to let others define you, to walk over you, to take advantage of your time and energy without any regard for what you need or want, you are giving away your power. Choosing yourself first is not a selfish act. It is an essential act. It is foundation of your success. Too many people don't realize that every time they allow someone to walk all over them, they are reinforcing a belief that they don't matter, that their needs, their desires, their dreams are secondary to others. But here's the thing. You are not secondary. You are not an afterthought. You are not an accessory in someone else's life. You are the main character in your own story. And the more you allow others to treat you as an afterthought, the more you contribute to the very narrative that keeps you stuck. You are worthy of the highest regard. And until you see yourself this way, others will continue to treat you as if you are disposable. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you matter. The moment you realize your own worth, the way others treat you will begin to shift because you will no longer tolerate anything less than respect. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are teaching people that your boundaries don't matter. Every time you make yourself available to others at the expense of your own peace, you are telling the universe that your time is not valuable. Your time is one of the most precious resources you have. And once it's gone, you cannot get it back. Stop acting as if the world is entitled to it. Stop acting as if you owe anyone your time, your energy, your resources, when they are not reciprocating. When you give and give and give without ever receiving anything in return, you are not being generous, you are being used. And no matter how much you love someone or how much you care about them, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You need to fill your own cup first. The more you give to others without consideration for yourself, the more you create a cycle where you are drained and others are depleted of your energy. Stop accepting less than you deserve. If you continue to allow others to treat you like a doormat, you are telling them that you don't value yourself enough to stand up for what you believe in. You are allowing them to take what they want without ever having to acknowledge your needs. And here's the reality. If you don't value your own time, if you don't set boundaries around your energy, no one else will. And when you decide to stop being a doormat, everything changes. Your life becomes your own again. Your time is yours. Your energy is yours. Yours. You begin to take control of your life in ways that you may never have thought possible. To walk over you because you now understand that your self-worth is non-negotiable. We've all heard that action speaks louder than words, but there is another truth. Action shows where your priorities lie. When you stop allowing others to take control of your time and your life, you start taking bold action. You start taking charge of your story. And that's when you truly begin to win. Winning doesn't happen by waiting for someone to validate your worth or to give you permission to go after your dreams. Winning happens when you step into your own power and say, "This is my life, and I am in charge of how it unfolds." To stop being a doormat is the moment you begin to command your future, to live on your own terms. That's when life gets real, and that's when the magic starts to happen. The truth is, so many of us spend our entire lives searching for external validation. We look for it in the eyes of others, in the opinions of our peers, in the approval of family and friends. We want to hear, "Oh, you're doing great, you're enough, or you matter." But here's the harsh reality. You can't build your life around someone else's approval. The moment you depend on others to define your worth, you give away your power. It's easy to look at the achievements of others and believe that your worth is measured by what you've accomplished, how you look, or how many people like you. But true confidence, true self-worth comes from an internal place. It's about knowing deep in your soul that you are not the need for someone to validate your existence. When you start to recognize this, everything shifts. You stop comparing yourself to others, and instead, you begin to walk in your own unique light. The first step in recognizing your worth is understanding that your value is not up for debate. It is not something that can be taken away or diminished because of someone else's opinion. It is constant, like the sun that rises every day without question. So often, we tie our self-worth to our achievements, the praise we receive, or the love we get from others. But when we do this, we put our happiness and sense of self in someone else's hands. If we base our worth on something external, then we are at the mercy of the world around us. True worth comes from within, and the sooner you realize this, the sooner you take back your power. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone. When you understand that you are already enough, it's like a heavy burden is lifted off your shoulder. You stop chasing after the approval of others and you begin to focus on what truly matters: your own happiness, your own vision for your life. You stop giving away your power in hopes that someone else will validate you. You become your own biggest fan. And here's the magic that happens when you finally step into this mindset. The world starts treating you differently. People start respecting you more because you respect yourself. Opportunities begin to open up because you're no longer small. You walk into rooms with your head held high, knowing that your value is not determined by the opinions or perceptions of others. You are ready enough. You just have to believe it. Once you understand your intrinsic worth, the next step is to stop settling for anything less than you deserve. So many people stay stuck in toxic relationships, dead-end jobs, or unfulfilling situations simply because they believe that they don't deserve anything better. But here's the truth. You are deserving of great. You are deserving of love that uplifts you, work that excites you, friendships that support and encourage you. The moment you realize that you are worthy of these things, you stop settling for less. You stop accepting things that make you feel small, unseen, or unappreciated. It's time to demand more for yourself. No more tolerating the things that drain you. No more accepting the bare minimum. You are worthy of abundance, joy, and peace. Don't settle for anything. This shift in mindset is not just about avoiding toxic situations, but also about elevating your standards for yourself. When you start to recognize your worth, you begin to raise the bar in every area of your life. You set higher standards for your relationships, your career, your health. You begin to demand respect, not just from others, but from yourself. You stop settling for mediocrity. You stop playing small. You stop accepting people who don't treat you with the respect you deserve. You begin to expect more from yourself because you understand that you are capable of achieving greatness. You stop allowing fear and doubt to dictate your decisions, and instead, you begin to trust in your ability. When you stop settling, you open the door to endless possibilities. As you begin to set higher standards for yourself, you will notice that some relationships will change. You may find that some people can't handle the new. But here's the truth. And that's okay. The people who respect your boundaries and support your growth will stay. The ones who can't or won't meet you at the level you deserve will fall away. And that's not a loss, it's a gift. You don't need to hold on to people who don't see your worth. You deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who celebrate your successes. Self. The moment you stop settling for less than you deserve, you give yourself permission to align with people and experiences that match your newfound level of self-respect. Every time you say yes, When you mean no, you are reinforcing a pattern that diminishes your self-worth. It may seem harmless at first, agreeing to something you're not comfortable with, putting others' needs ahead of your own, or accommodating someone else's agenda. But over time, this seemingly small act becomes a habit, one that erodes your boundaries and chips away at your sense of self-respect. Every time you compromise your own values for the sake of others, you send a message to yourself that you are not important. Oh, no, you are telling yourself that your feelings don't matter, that your boundaries can be ignored, and that others' needs come before your own. It might feel like you're being kind or generous, but in reality, you are giving away pieces of yourself in the process. The longer you do this, the harder it becomes to recognize where your own needs begin and where others' demands end. The key is learning to say no, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting others, it's about protecting your peace. Boundaries are a form of self-care, not an act of aggression. They are essential for maintaining your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Think about it. If you continually say yes to everyone else, how are you ever going to have the time, energy, or space to take care of yourself? How will you ever be able to pursue your own goals, dreams, or passions if you're constantly putting others first? Boundaries allow you to say yes to what aligns with your values and priorities, and no to what drains you or compromises your well-being. By setting boundaries, you are essentially taking control of your life and ensuring that you are investing in the things that matter most to you. It's about carving out the space to be your true self without guilt or shame. The fear of disappointing others or feeling guilty about saying no can be one of the most paralyzing emotions. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving, constantly saying yes, and constantly overextending yourself, you will eventually burn out. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a responsible person who understands the importance of self-preservation. You have to take care of yourself first, before you can be there for others. The reality is, when you constantly put others' needs ahead of your own, you are doing them a disservice. You are not being your best self, and as a result, you cannot give others the best version of you. Saying no is not an act of rejection. It's an act of preserving your energy so you can show up fully when it matters most. The more you practice setting boundaries and saying no, you start to notice when people or situations are taking more from you than you're willing to give. The more in tune you become with your own needs, the easier it is to recognize when your boundaries are being tested. And once you've identified the behavior or situation that is draining you, you can take proactive steps to protect your peace. You can walk away from situations that no longer serve you, relationships that are toxic, or commitments that don't align with your goals. This is not about cutting people off or being unkind. It's about honoring yourself and your time. You are no longer afraid to say no, because you understand that your worth is not determined by how much you give to others. It's determined by how much you honor yourself. When you set strong boundaries, you also begin to teach others how to treat you. Boundaries are a form of teaching others how to respect your time, your space, and your needs. When you consistently enforce your boundaries, people will begin to respect them. Initially, they might test the waters, but over time, they will learn that you will not tolerate disrespect or disregard for your limits. And here's the beauty of it. The more you honor your own boundaries, the more you encourage others to do the same. You teach others how to treat you by the way. If you are constantly saying yes, constantly accommodating, constantly putting others ahead of yourself, you are teaching others that your needs don't matter. But when you begin to assert your boundaries, you send a message that your needs are important, and you teach others to respect those boundaries as well. Learning to say no and enforce boundaries is not an overnight process. It's a practice, one that takes time, patience, and self-compassion. But every time you set a boundary and honor your own needs, you reinforce your sense of self-worth. You reinforce the message that you are deserving of respect, that your needs are valid. The right to live your life on your terms. It's not always easy and it's not always comfortable, but it's necessary for your growth and well-being. You are teaching the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. And in doing so, you are creating a life that aligns with your values, your priorities, and your dreams. We are conditioned to think that leaving a job, a relationship, or a situation means we failed, that we've given up, or that we're somehow weak. But here's the truth. Walking away is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of strength. It takes courage to leave behind what no longer serves you, especially when it's comfortable or familiar. The truth is, staying in situations that drain you, that compromise your values, or that prevent you from growing is far more damaging than walking away and creating space for something better. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an unsatisfying job, or even a negative environment, walking away is a powerful act of self-respect. It's your way of telling the world, I know my worth, and I refuse to settle for less. When you walk away from something that is not aligned with your values or your goals, you are asserting your power. You are taking control of your own narrative. Too often, we stay in situations out of fear, fear of being judged, fear of being alone, fear of the unknown. But fear is not the boss of you. The real failure is not having the courage to walk away from what hurts you. There is no growth, no progress, no real success when you are constantly surrounded by things and people that are toxic or that do not serve your highest. Walking away is not about running away. It's about moving forward towards something better, something that reflects your true worth and potential. Walking away also means that you are no longer willing to compromise your happiness for the comfort of others. When you stay in a situation that makes you unhappy, you are essentially putting others' comfort above your own well-being. You're telling the world that you're okay with being unhappy, just as long as everyone else is comfortable. But that is not the price of your peace. Your happiness matters. Your emotional and mental well being matters. And the moment you realize this, the easier it becomes to recognize when it's time to. Whether it's a toxic friend, a job that drains you, or a relationship that keeps you stuck, staying in a situation that robs you of your joy is a choice. And walking away is the act of choosing your joy, choosing your peace, and choosing your future over the temporary discomfort of change. The process of walking away isn't always easy. It often comes with fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt. You may question whether you're doing the right thing or whether you're making a mistake. But remember, the discomfort you feel now is temporary. The peace, freedom, and growth that come from choosing yourself will last a lifetime. When you walk away, you are making space for new opportunities, new people, and new experiences that are aligned with your desires and your vision. It might feel uncertain at first, but the courage to walk away sets in motion a process that leads to personal transformation. Sometimes leaving behind what is no longer serving you is the very thing that opens the door to your next level of success. There is power in knowing when it's time to leave. This power comes from understanding that you are not stuck. No matter what situation you find yourself in, you always have the power to choose. You can choose to stay, or you can choose to leave. But the moment you believe that you're stuck, that there is no way out, you give away your agency and your power. Walking away is a declaration that you are not a victim of your circumstance. You are the creator of your own life, and when something no longer aligns with your vision, you have the freedom to walk away and move toward something that does. No one else can dictate your life or your future unless you allow them to. When you walk away, you are reclaiming that power. Finally, walking away is an affirmation that your time and energy are valuable. Any moment you spend in a situation that drains you is a moment you will never get back. And yet, so many people continue to stay in places, jobs, and relationships that are unfulfilling because they don't understand the value of their own time. They feel obligated to stay because of guilt, fear, or a sense of duty. But your time is yours to use as you see fit. The only way to truly honor your time is to invest it in situations that allow you to grow, thrive, and live authentically. Walking away is not a loss. It's an investment in your future, your peace, and your well-being. When you walk away from what isn't serving you, you are giving yourself the greatest gift of all, the opportunity to invest in yourself and your dreams. We often allow the world to define our worth, whether it's society, our friends, or even our own family. We measure ourselves against the standards set by others, hoping to fit into the mold of what they expect of us. But here's the hard truth. You are not here to fit into someone else's mold. You are here to create your own path, to shape your own destiny, and to define your own value. The moment you let someone else dictate your worth, you hand over your power. You give up the right to live life on your terms. Your worth is not determined by the labels others place on you. the expectations they set, or the standards they impose. It is defined by you, by how you see yourself, and how you choose to carry yourself in the world. When you stop letting others define you, you begin to see the world through a new lens, one where you are in control of your story. This shift in perspective. Suddenly, you stop comparing yourself to others. Stop measuring your success against someone else's achievements. And stop feeling like you have to live up to someone else's expectations. Instead, you begin to focus on what truly matters to you. You begin to prioritize your own dreams, goals. Most powerful thing you can do is to start living in alignment with your own values and principles, rather than trying to meet the standards set by the world around you. Your life is your own, and you are the one who gets to decide how you show up in it. This doesn't mean you should become arrogant or dismissive of others. It means that you must respect yourself enough to not settle for less than you deserve. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, to have your needs met, and to pursue your passions without apology. The truth is, too many people go through life tolerating toxic relationships, jobs that drain them, and situations that hold them back because they've been conditioned to believe that they don't deserve more. They've been told, directly or indirectly, that their dreams are too big, that their worth is tied to their usefulness to others, or that they should simply be content with what they have. But you are worthy of more. You are worthy of the very best life has to offer, and it is up to you to claim that for yourself. As you begin to prioritize your own worth and stop letting others define you, you will start to attract the things that truly align with your energy and your goal. When you begin to respect your own boundaries, you'll notice that others will start to respect them too. In your worth, the more others will begin to recognize it. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. If you show up for yourself with integrity, confidence, and self-respect, others will begin to mirror that back to you. But when you allow others to define your worth, you send the message that your boundaries are negotiable, that your time is not valuable, and that your feelings are secondary. When you start valuing yourself, the world around you begins to shift, and it shifts in your favor. The challenge is that we often find it difficult, free from the expectations of others, because we fear rejection, criticism, or the unknown. It's scary to step into your own power, to say, I am enough as I am, and I will no longer accept anything less than I deserve. But that fear is the very thing that keeps you stuck. It keeps you in relationships that drain you, jobs that don't fulfill you, and situations that prevent you from growing. The moment you decide to break free from those limiting beliefs, you open yourself up to an entirely new world of possibilities. The fear of stepping into your own power is far less frightening than the regret of staying in situations that don't serve you. It's time to challenge the stories you've been told about who you are, who you should be, and what you deserve. Choosing to define your worth and take control of your life is not always easy. walk away from the comfort of familiar to what you know, even when that comfort no longer serves you. It requires you to believe in yourself when no one else does, to stand firm in your own vision. Others doubt you, but it is the most liberating thing you can do. When you stop letting others define you, you give yourself the freedom to live authentically, to pursue your passions, and to create the life you were always meant to live. You free yourself from the chains of external validation, and you begin to create a life that is uniquely yours. One that is based on your values, your dreams, and your potential. Your life is too valuable to let others decide what you are worth. You are the author of your story, and no one else has the right to write it for you. When you take ownership of your worth, you begin to step into a life of purpose, fulfillment, and self-respect. You stop seeking approval, and instead, you start living for yourself. And align with your deepest desires and values are a result. You will begin to attract the people, opportunities, and experiences that are in alignment with who you truly are. Take back your power, define your own worth, and start living a life that reflects your greatness. When you stop letting others define your worth, the world starts to open up in ways you never imagined. For far too long, we have been conditioned to look for validation outside ourselves, whether it's from our families, friends, or society as a whole. We base our value on external sources. How much we earn, how many people like us, how successful others think we are. But true power comes from within, and once you stop seeking approval, you realize that your worth is something that cannot be measured by outside forces. You don't need the approval of others to know that you are enough. You are valuable because you exist, not because of what you've achieved or what others think of you. The shift from seeking external validation to acknowledging your internal value can be challenging, especially in a world that constantly the idea that we need to prove ourselves. It requires a radical shift in mindset, one that takes you from a place of constant comparison and striving for others' approval to a place of self-empowerment. When you understand that your worth is inherent, untouchable by anyone else's opinion, you begin to operate from a place of confidence and self-respect. You stop measuring your value by someone else's standards and start setting your own. This shift allows you to pursue your own dreams without the burden of constantly seeking permission or validation. You no longer feel the need to shrink your someone else's idea of who you should be. This transformation isn't immediate, and it requires consistent effort. You were born to carve your own path, to follow your own dreams, and to create your own legacy. Yet, so many of us spend our lives trying to please others, seeking their approval, and living by their standards. We measure our success by the yardstick of others' expectations, only to find ourselves lost, drained, and unfulfilled. Moment you stop trying to live up to someone else's idea of who you should be, you begin to tap into your true power. You begin to recognize that your worth is not defined by others, but by how you choose to see yourself. No one else has the right to tell you what your life should look like. Only you do. Your dreams are yours to chase, and your journey is yours to take. The only person who can truly stop you from reaching your full potential is you. When you start to embrace the idea that your worth is intrinsic and that your dreams are valid regardless of outside opinions, you shift from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. Instead of worrying about how others perceive you or what they think you should do, you begin to focus on what you want to do, what drives you. This shift is liberating. It frees you from the burden of constant comparison, self-doubt. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline and start creating your own path. The only expectations that matter are the ones you set for yourself. You define what success looks like on your terms. And when you do this, the world becomes a space where you can thrive, no longer bound by societal pressures or the opinions of others. However, living authentically does not come without its challenges. It requires strength, resilience, and a willingness to stand alone when necessary. There will always be voices around you, voices that try to tell you that you're not enough, that you should do things differently, that you should be more like someone else. But the power to break free from these voices lies in your ability to trust yourself and your own intuition. Your intuition is a direct connection to your inner truth. And when you start listening to it, you will find the courage to make bold decisions, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to take risks that others might shy away from. It is this inner strength that will guide you through the storms, reminding you that you have everything you need within you to succeed. To truly embrace your worth, you must also become comfortable with the idea of saying no, not just to others, but to yourself as well. We often get caught up in trying to do everything, trying to be everything to everyone, and trying to please everyone around us. But this only leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. Learning to say no is a form of self-respect. It's a declaration that you value your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being enough to not overextend yourself. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you responsible for your own happiness and health. It allows you to prioritize your needs and focus on what truly matters. When you say no, you make room for what aligns with your goals, your values, and your vision for your life. This ability to say no also extends to your relationships. Not every relationship you encounter is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are in your life for a reason, others for a season, but not everyone deserves a place in your inner circle. It's important to recognize when relationships are draining you or hindering your growth, and to have the courage to walk away from them. This could mean leaving behind toxic friendships, stepping away from negative family dynamics, or ending a relationship that no longer serves your highest good. Choosing to protect your peace is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can practice. It's about surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, support your dreams, and respect your boundaries. When you start to prioritize yourself, to walk away from what doesn't serve you, and to trust your own judgment, something incredible happens. You begin to attract what you truly deserve. The moment you stop settling for less than you deserve, you open the door to new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that are in alignment with your true self. The universe works in mysterious ways, but when you put your intentions out there and start living authentically, it will respond. The people, the opportunities, and the experiences that align with your worth will come into your life effortlessly. You no longer have to chase after things or force situations. By being true to yourself and your values, you will naturally attract what is meant for you. Living authentically and embracing your worth is not just about achieving external success. It's about internal fulfillment. It's about waking up every day knowing that you are living in alignment with your truth. It's about feeling a deep sense of peace and satisfaction with who you are. When you stop seeking approval and validation from the outside world, you create a life that is rich with meaning, purpose, and joy. Your worth is not something that needs to be earned or proved. It's already inside of you, and the more you recognize and embrace that truth, the more your life will reflect that confidence. You are worthy. You are enough, and you are more than capable of creating the life you've always dreamed of. So, stop waiting for someone else to tell you what you're capable of. The power to create the life you desire is already within you. When you begin to trust yourself, when you stop letting others define your worth, and when you start living in alignment with your true purpose, you will find that everything falls into place. Your dreams, your success, and your peace are all within your reach, but it starts with you choosing yourself. Embrace your worth, trust your path, and know that you are worthy of everything you desire. The world needs the authentic, unapologetic version of you. So step into your power and let it shine.